I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, August the 11th, brought to you in part by Brommagen Commodities. In these volatile times where it seems like we have a lot of risk ahead of us with COVID uncertainty and everything that goes with the election, of course, you might want to protect yourself. And if you need some risk management, get a hold of Candy Sullivan there at BrommagenCommodities.com, and she can help you with several different strategies to control your risk on the bottom side. Anniversary. We've just passed a year, August the 9th, that we had the big fire at Finney County, Holcomb County, there at the Tyson Fresh Meats plant, and all the upheaval that happened in the markets. It's been well advertised and we've talked about it an awful lot, but that is really what started a tumultuous year that we've seen as we got into this calendar year and with the COVID and the markets and everything. But it seems longer than that in some ways, and it seems like yesterday in other ways. But we have passed a year now, so as we compare things to a year ago, you got to take that into consideration. But coming to you here from the Tracy Taylor Building in beautiful downtown Maysville, Missouri. My old stomping ground's going to spend a few days here with some of my old friends up here in the heart of the Midwest before I go up to Iowa this weekend for the Governor's Charity Steer Show, and hope that's a positive thing. It's a big fundraiser for the Ronald McDonald House of Iowa, and also draw attention as far as our team, the Monroe County Cattlemen's team, to the need for increased cash trade and the 5014 bill that Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa is promoting, and we're sure behind that. But you know, spent last weekend in Colorado. I talked to you guys about that, and Gage Adam, and the really feel-good thing that happened there at the Delta County Junior Livestock Show sale there, and appreciate all the positive comments that we had about that that happened there, and it really makes you feel good about how people, you know, support one another, and the heartfelt generousness of folks within the ag community, and I'm really proud of that. But as I went through Colorado there, I tell you what, I couldn't believe how packed it was. Colorado is packed. Nothing much to do, you know, with all this COVID going on. People still wanting to go on vacation and take their kids places, but without any big events to go to. A lot of people chose to go to Colorado and go camping, and I tell you what, people were camping in the bar ditches there. And everybody pulled out their old travel trailer, whether they knew how to pull it or not, or whether they had a vehicle that could pull it or not, and the traffic is unbearable. And I saw the height of ignorance at Gunnison, Colorado there, as I was checking into a motel, and had some guys pull up next to me there in a pickup, and there was 3 guys in the 4-door pickup there, all with masks on while they were in the vehicle. And then once they got parked and got out of the vehicle, then they stood in a circle and shared a joint. And I thought, if I haven't seen the height of ignorance yet, I've seen it just now. But as I'm in the heart of the Midwest now, I can see why these farmer feeders, these Midwestern feeders and Northern Plains guys are so bullish and have gotten so aggressive on these feeder cattle, because these crops look absolutely unbelievable. And I lived up here for 16 years. I've never seen them any better. Hasn't been super wet, but the timely rains have been perfect. And I saw some high flooded areas like east of St. Joe on Highway 36, which is usually flooded out once or twice a year, and always makes me wonder why people keep fighting it. The crops in there are just unbelievable, and you stare into these corn crops, and they just look cold black when you look into them, and the old timers tell you that's when they're really, really good. And what might look better is the soybeans are just absolutely excellent. And what few pasture ground that I saw was just lush and thick, and just I tell you what, people just can't keep up with the forage that's growing in the heart of the Midwest. And that's, like I say, what's giving these Midwestern feeder buyers the gumption to bore into these feeder cattle like they've been doing it. And it doesn't seem quite as crazy to me now that I've seen it. But we've got this election coming up here, and it's coming up hard and fast, guys. We've got less than 85 days before we do it, and it's going to be a big election in our country's history. And I tell you what, if we don't get Trump back in here, I don't know what's going to happen, guys. We've just the far left movement from the Democratic side, and I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of my conservative views or Republican views, which go hand in hand here. But yeah, we've got to get something done here, and you know, Joe Biden's going to pick his vice president running mate here this week, and if you see the pressure that he's getting, he's already said that he's going to name a female, which is fine, and he's getting unbearable pressure for that female to be of color, which is also fine. But also, that is the textbook definition of sexism and racism, when you've got a position here that they're should be picking the most qualified person, but it's evident that that person has to be of a certain gender and has to be of a colored race. And I'm not sure that that is the most positive thing. Hopefully, the most qualified person that they find does fit those qualifications. But if they don't, then we're going to get something lesser than that. And if you guys are looking at the signs like I am, whoever gets that vice presidential pick from the Democratic side, if heaven forbid, if they do get in there, they're likely to have to take that office before the next 4 years, because it just doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. But let's talk about cattle markets, guys. Look at the board on Monday. August live cattle futures up 80, and all your cattle futures were up big on Monday. We're starting out on the positive side, but up 80 cents on the August spot. Live cattle futures at 103.60, which is a premium to what we saw in the weighted averages quite a bit, but still not off of our top quotes up in the northern plains for last week. But October's up 70 cents at 107.15. That's a definite premium to what we're seeing now. So we should see good markets coming forward, and we're expecting to gain some more ground here and get closer to that this week. But you go on out from there on the out fronts, and your live cattle futures were up 45 to up 90. August feeder cattle were up 85 cents at 143.57, which is a pretty handsome premium to what cattle are bringing on the average on an 800-pound steer. September up 27 at 145.40. You go on your out fronts on your feeder cattle, up 2 cents to up 45. So everything in the positive on the cattle pits. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated cash trade in your 5-area feeding region, 91,600 head. That compares to 103,000 last week, which is pretty comparable and a decent cash movement. And you think a year ago this week was right there as we got into the Holcomb fire there. We had 60,800 in comparison there on your 5-area feeding region cash movement. But your steers and heifers last week traded from 99 to 105. That 105 was late week, so we know that we saw our best prices late in the week. But for the most part, 97 to 103 on live steers and heifers. Your live steer weighted average was 101.34, up 268. And we knew that the Southern Plains was straight up $3 higher, so that goes to show you there that weighted average rings true. Your dress steer and heifer spread went from 160.5 to 169 that we saw late in the week there, but mostly at 163. And your weighted average on dress steers was 163.20, up 317. It wasn't up near that much through the week, but we saw some 164 and some 165 there late in the week, mostly by your regionals in the northern plains, and they are fairly current, if not a little short of market-ready cattle. And you're sure seeing it as they've gotten encouragement from the southern plains. It's gaining big ground, and it's helping your guys selling cattle in the northern plains stick their heels in the ground and ask for more money. But big jump there late in the week on your dress steers and heifers. Nationwide, negotiated sales were 100,600 head. Only about 13.5% of those for the 15 to 30 day delivery. So we're not getting set up for a fall here, and we usually see that set up for the fall whenever we're going into a down market. And as I just said, we're going into an up market, so not being able to get a lot of those cattle bought for the forward delivery there. Negotiated grid sales were less than 20,000, which is pretty typical, and we have not seen the big push on the bid to the grid that NCBA and some people think are going to be the savior, that those of us that are for mandated minimum negotiated cash are asking for on your cash, which we believe for sure will be the savior of our cattle industry. But let's look at feeder cattle. Your real-time index on DB auction late on Monday at 141 even. That was up 14 cents from the end of last week, and we didn't really see a lot of higher prices. They were a little bit up and down on our big high volume sales on Monday, but hanging right in there. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma National Stockyards, 8,500 head on Monday. Feeder steers were steady to $3 lower. Feeder heifers mostly steady to $2 lower, and steer and heifer calves steady to $3 higher there. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 4,400 head there, and their market was just up and down throughout all the classes, but feeder steers steady to $2 higher. Feeder heifers steady to $3 lower. Your middleweight kind of feeding type calves were steady to $2 higher. Steers and heifers for the most part, but a little unevenness there. Stocker type steer and heifer calves there, $2 to $3 lower. The biggest stick out sale that I saw come out of Sioux Falls Regional Stockyards or Regional Livestock there, Worthing, South Dakota, had 70 head, 914 pound steers, bring $142. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.